All right, welcome back, guys. So, my Insight is having issues, and it's not the regular herky-jerky that you may all know if you drive this car coming from a standstill and it kind of bucks and it does that. It's more at a steady drive, sometimes during acceleration, but not too hard acceleration. It's just kind of like back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and it's really bad. And I've been wanting to do this since I got the car, but I got a fuel filter and a fuel pump. So this is gonna be a little bit difficult since there's not a whole lot of write-ups or any videos on how to do this. As far as I can see, there are people that have done this, very few. It is behind the driver's side seat, underneath the carpet and all of this stuff. There's an access panel. Now you can drop the tank or you can do it this way. This way seems to be easier. So come with me on this journey as I try to figure this out. Step 1, disconnect your battery. Actually, batteries. This is one. Mine's special. All right, and then first thing we're doing in here is we're getting stuff out of the way. So we're gonna put our seats forward as much as you can. You can remove them if you want more room, but I really don't wanna do extra work. So those are forward. Next up, because I did put these speakers in a separate video, or if you have the stock ones, those are gonna have to come out. And also if you did this install, this has to come out, or the regular one that goes in here has to come out. We're also gonna get all of these little fasteners across the bottom so we can move this separate piece of carpet that comes up and over. So the little pins in here, mine suck, but you just kind of get it on both sides, pop it out. Or if you have a trim removal tool, which I do have, you can use that. Either way works. All right, so the easiest way to get this out, it looks like we are taking off all these pins, of course, all the ones that go across the bottom to get this carpet up, because we're gonna have to come under here and we need to take this panel off right here that comes up. This whole thing, we need to get out of the way because it's supposed to be right down here where right behind the driver's seat. So I've got my seats back, I've got this out of the way. Because we're taking the carpet up, I have to remove my covers that go over these. So I took my screw out of that, and then on the other side I got that one off, and it looks like I'm gonna have to take these off. All right, so once that netting comes out, you can get that up out of the way. And remember, if you're taking this off, these things are extremely brittle, these guys, so they will probably snap off. And now that we're taking off the carpet, you can see the paneling on both sides kind of gets in your way. You can take these off too. I think I can just kind of scoot mine out of the way, but if yours isn't as easy as that, and take these panels off. So you take this bottom one off, this pops off, and then this pops off. There's no screws or anything that I can remember that come out, but no, mine comes right up. So boom, now we have access. Let's get that out of the way. There we go. Now we have access to this whole aluminum panel back here. So let's see, I've got 0 screws up here because I took those out for a different reason, but you're going to take out all the screws. You've got all the ones lining the bottom here. You're going to take all these out so we can get this panel off. Never mind, I lied. You do have to take these out. There is one screw, one of those golden ones underneath here that you can't get to. So these have to come out. Should be very easy because this car is old and it's been taken apart 100,000 times. So there you go. Look at that, original plastic, maybe. And then this guy comes out. Get that around the weather stripping. I don't want that to be broken. And then it kind of comes up around here. So I've done this before. Don't pull this out too hard like this and push it like that, because you don't want this pinched and cracked. This comes out over here too. So make sure you just get this loose. So then this whole thing is nice and loose. You got a pin down here on the bottom. It's really hard to do with one hand. So I basically got everything out of the way. I think I have one more pin in the middle, and then this whole thing can come out, and then just do that for both sides. All right, so once you get on the inside, you have 2 of these little tower looking things. They go up in these little pins. So once you get all the other ones out and everything's nice and loose, you're gonna lift up on this so it can come out of these. So it'll be sitting in here. So when you lift up on it, it'll come out of those two. Those are the only two that actually have those. The rest of them, you can see those just pop out. So if you still have the original center console, I guess you want to call it, then you do have to remove that, because you can see the bracket right there. Everything is hooked up in there. But if you have the aftermarket armrest like I do, it is totally separate, so I'm not going to have to touch that. But if you do have the original one, just take out the screws to take out that center console thing. Okay, so once all of those screws are taken out from the top and the bottom and the side little bits there, you can see this whole thing is loose. If you have rear speakers, you're going to have to disconnect them from the back on the harness, and then this whole thing can come out. So I got to wiggle myself back here. Hello. Okay, I just got that off over there, sitting in the sun, getting nice and cold. And if we look inside here, we have a bunch of stuff. And I thought it would be lower. I thought it would look different, but I guess it doesn't really matter. I think it's over there, but they said it's on the driver's side. So it's under one of these panels, I think. Whew, I found it. By the way, it is stupidly hot. So you take off all of those bolts that go all the way around. You got one kind of hidden in the back corner. You have to lift this little flap up. If you lift that flap up and keep pulling, you can see it's got a little spring tensioner that goes around this plastic so it can seat on there and be tight. Just pull that off, and then this is really flexible. You can squeeze that off to the side and get to that one. Once you do, I don't know, I've got this guy in the way. I just took this out. Okay, so that's just a grommet that one runs through, so don't put too much pressure on that. Now we can get to our sending unit, and my God, that's dirty. Yeah, I'm gonna have to clean this up a little bit so I don't get stuff in the tank. Ew. There we go. That looks quite a bit better. Just got my little dustpan in here and got up all that dirt that was stuck on there. Nothing wet, nothing sticky, giggity. So it looks like I've got no leaks, which is amazing. Maybe let's anyway, this is clean, so I don't have to worry about crap falling in there. When I open it up, there's a special tool, bugs, to get this off. I don't have a special tool. I'm not paying for one. This one we can get off easily, but I'm talking about this whole ring. You can try your might, or you can get a screwdriver, flathead, and put it up against one of these ridges, knock it with a hammer until it cracks loose, and then open it up like a boss. Okay, not sure why this part's leaking. The other part had a few drips and it's good. This one, I don't know. Anyway, if you don't know how to get that thing off, you just squeeze the sides in like that, and then you push in and then out, because you can see this little tab over here. Why are you leaking? Why? All right, no special tools needed. Just get a nice little spot right here and just tap away. Looks like I finally got it loose enough to turn it by hand. There we go. Once we get this all the way out, stupid magic ring, there we go. Ring is out. Now, as you can see, this one's not totally disconnected. I just didn't want it to leak anymore because fuel costs over $5 a gallon because... Anyway. All right, just got it out. I got the plug off of here, this little thing that goes onto the fuel assembly, and then I got the ring off with that to give me more room. So when you get this whole thing off, just the white part comes off. The part that this gets threaded onto stays in place. So you have to like really try to just get the fingers up into this. There's a little gasket underneath too, so don't be sticking anything in there that could rip it up or cause a leak. So now I've got this, I can lift it up and out. You can see it's right in there. I got to do this with two hands because I do have fuel in the tank, and I do not want to mess up the float, the one that reads how much, oh God, it's hot, how much fuel you have for your little fuel gauge up front. Do not bend that because then it throws everything off, or don't break it, or you know, don't do bad stuff. Welcome to my kitchen. Anyway, God, this is terrible lighting. So I just got done getting this inside. I took a look over it so I didn't sound like an idiot, which I usually do because I have no idea what I'm doing half the time. But I got this in, I figured out how it works. So, in order to take this thing apart, I traced everything and figured out where it went. I actually don't know what any of this fancy stuff in here is. Most people that do fuel filter and assemblies know what that is. I'm sure it's all the same. But for people that have no clue like me, to take this apart and get to your fuel strainer, because I thought I was missing my strainer, I'm replacing the filter, the strainer, and the pump, because I'm already in here. It's a pain in the butt. So you've got your gauge. Always so cool to see that. But you have this harness that you need to unplug from right up here. So when you take this bottom part off, this is just in the way. So unplug that. It's routed through here, so it's pretty easy. There's a way open there. I'm just abundantly cautious because old plastic. And then I also figured out that this little guy down here, you can see it's actually a clip that slides in like that. All you have to do is push in this tab and pull out. That will get this out. And once you have those two, once you get that, you've got 3 tabs. You've got this one back here, which has a really nice, handy little tab that you can put your finger behind and pull that forward. Then you got 2 on front. You've got one here, and you got one over here. All of those have to be opened up at the same time for this bottom portion to come out. And after I slide that out, you can see, here's the inside. You've got like a little trap door thing down there that doesn't open all the way. I'm guessing that's in case of a rollover. Really, anyone that knows this, please comment below because I am an idiot. But you can see there's quite a bit of nasty, chunky stuff in there. Here's my strainer. You can see on the bottom, it's got a lot of crap in there. But then it goes up to the fuel pump, which is housed inside here, which is also your filter on this side. So now that I have this out of its little container contraption, I'm gonna clean this out, make sure there's no more sediment in there, and then I'll figure out how to get all this stuff out. Looks like it's just the same thing, some clips, but we'll see. And remember, like all my videos, this stuff is linked down below if you need to figure out where it is. I was able to get all this stuff online. Fuel pump on Amazon. This stuff I had to order from Honda because no one makes it. But you can't just look up Honda Insight parts. You just have to look up the specific part number, and this works. So keep that in mind. Go down below, figure out what the part number is, search for itself if you need to, and yeah. Okay, so based on the parts that I got, this is from Honda, so this is going directly on there. This stuff is from Amazon, so some of the stuff you may not use, but I'm starting with this because I know this is right, because nothing is made specifically for this car. So at the very bottom, you can see you've got the filter down there, which is connected to the pump. And I'm thinking there's some sort of little lock ring thing on there. I'm not going to bother with that. But this guy right here, little clip that holds that in place, is that guy. So we're going to unclip that, and hopefully that will get the fuel pump out. Probably going to have to undo this clip right inside here. That is most likely hooked up to the top. So this is really hard to do with one hand. Okay, so I just took off that piece and then the little rubber piece at the bottom. So you can see right down here, now you can see that little pin with the retainer washer. I have no idea what they're called, shut up. That right there is holding this guy in place. So if I want to take the filter off now, I can, but now I need to do some digging to figure out what is keeping this whole thing in place. Maybe it stops in there. I'm gonna try to go and take this clip and this clip free so I can get the whole filter off. Maybe this whole assembly comes off. I'm probably gonna have to take this guy off too. All right, so 2 things you have to do. You've got to unclip that clip on the inside, which is a pain in the butt. You can do this one too. So that one is connected to this one down here. You do get a replacement, so if you end up breaking that, it's fine. So get that out. You do have to take this little guy out. It looks like you just push that pin or that fold up top so it slides down. And then it's this little guy back here. So there's 2 tabs. It's this little piece here on the side. You've got these notches right here. And then you just push the two little clamps that are on the side of those. Push those out and push it down. That comes out. Now I've got this whole assembly being held on by this little clippy doodah. So I just flattened that out, pulled it out, because on the new harness, you get another one. Another question, this looks like a ground wire, but it's sitting on plastic. Why? Kind of strange. New one from Honda has that, but not the other one. So when I'm taking this off, you've got another one that's up here, looks like a pressure regulator or something. It's hooked up to that one. It's the same kind of one as the one that's down here, but it's not in this one. So maybe I just will reuse this one, because that looks like a pain in the butt to take out. Okay, all it took was a quick little tug. Just this rubber piece on the inside is the only thing that was holding that in, right in that little notch down there. So you just grab it at the bottom, pull it out, and there's your old fuel pump, which is slowly dying. I believe that's probably what it is. It might be the fuel filter. Maybe I'll cut into that and see how it looks. But I've got the new ones over here. It's just adorable. Look at it. Okay, so going from the old one to the new one, I just took off that little bit down there. I've got a replacement. However, it didn't come with this plastic little riser. So I'm going to swap that one onto the new one and put the new rubber thing on there. And yeah, swap on. I've got this new guy over here, nice new strainer. I'm going to put that on the bottom of there. It also comes with a new little fat O-ring. As far as I remember, where the hell was that thing? There it is. That one goes inside the new fuel filter, right in there. Okay, this is quite difficult to get seated properly. Push it all the way down so you can get this little nub out here to put this teeny tiny little dude down in here. That's really hard. I had to get some needle nose and slowly wiggle it down. I scratched it up a little bit, but nothing that's gonna break it. I don't like pushing down on here because that's where the suction comes from. So I don't want to snap any of the little pieces inside there. You can kind of see there's little feet that come down. I don't want to potentially do that. So these little parts right here, I put two needle nose in between those and kind of like stepped them down a little bit to snug it on. I slipped a few times, whatever. I'm going to put that guy on. We're looking good. All right, now that that is all in, we'll push down. There we go. Get a little pop, and there you go. You got to make sure you push that down so it seats properly with that little rubber doohickey that's on there. So give it a little tug. That's not going anywhere. It's a good seat on there. Looks like the new one doesn't come with this piece. So I'm going to reuse that one. And I got all the other pieces, even this one. So there it is. It blended in. I got to reuse that piece to clip it on the inside here to keep that in place, I guess, so it doesn't fly out. Yeah, okay, it's looking good. All right, got that clip on. Now everything's super secure, and you definitely do need to reuse that little rubber bit because you don't want any vibrations, and also that keeps it nice and snug. So everything is solid. All right, now I got to remember how that goes back on there. Like I said, I really want to use this new harness. Maybe that extra ground isn't needed, but that's literally the ground that I can see going to some sort of possible metal no, never mind. It's still just on plastic. It doesn't make any sense. Why is a ground connected to plastic? That's not how science works. Whew, okay, got everything on. This guy with that O-ring is a pain. I took the O-ring out and I put it on the clip itself. I didn't put it inside, so I put it on this piece. It still didn't work. So then what I did is I got a little bit of oil, just a small amount of oil, went around the O-ring and put my finger on the inside, and then finally it popped in. I thought I was gonna snap that thing in half. So I would definitely suggest just very, very, very light oil just so that O-ring can get seated. If not, you're probably going to snap something. That was way too hard. But I know it's a good seal now. Where's the other bits? Oh, now I got to put that on. All right, got the whole thing together. Just clip the bottom back on. This part just slides in. You can see that's where that little clip is. If you want to take it out, push that down. And then plug in the top. Everything is now back the way it was with some new bits on the inside. There's my old bitch. I really want to take that apart and see how nasty it is. 200 and almost 20,000 miles. And I'm guessing that's the original one. Same thing with this guy. Let's go put it back in the car, and I really hope that stops my hesitation and my jerking, because I have nothing else to replace. That's it. All right, getting this guy back in here is not an easy task either. So make sure you get everything set up. I put the clip on so nothing would leak. The black locking circular thing's got to go in there. And then you just have to, it's not like a drop in. It touches the bottom of the tank and then you push it down and that spring in the assembly compresses. And then you have to keep that down while getting the grooves on this lock ring. And then you just have to slowly tighten it down. I just have it enough to where it's not going anywhere. I still have to get my hammer and tighten this all the way up. But that was difficult to put that on. I don't know. I guess they didn't do a drop-in tank because there's not a whole lot of room. There's not a whole lot of car. Okay, so after much struggle, I have the best way to get this thing back together. Oh God, it's so hot. It's like 100-something today. And I'm outside because I don't have a garage. So, the ring needs to be off. This connector fuel line needs to be off. That rubber grommet that goes around the inside, put that in first and seat it down before you put this down. Then you'll put the whole assembly down into it. It'll seat itself. Push it down all the way. It should keep itself seated if you put it down all the way. It'll keep itself, that spring compressed, all down in there. And then you can just take the ring, put it on top, and just very easily turn it on, get it nice and tight, smack it around. Whoever did this at the factory, I'm guessing, or whoever did this last, put a line. So that's where I stopped tightening it, so I know that's where it was. Now, I just gotta put the harness back in, put all the carpet back where it was, and we're done. All right, I got everything put back together. And you can see it's all close enough. Everything's put back together. And now we have to prime it. Okay, shut up. Okay, that's enough. So you're gonna put your key in, and just like any other fuel filter change, you're gonna put it in, you're gonna put it in the on position, have it prime, have it do that 3, 4, 5 times, depending on how big the vehicle is. This one's pretty small, so probably just a few. After that, crank it up, and you should be set. I wonder if I can hear it. Oh, yep, a little squeak. I can hear it going. Sounds like it's working. Let's see if it works. Oh, like a glove. All right, so I'm gonna let this bad boy warm up. Change that over. 75. It works and it doesn't work sometimes, but hopefully after this, I'll be able to get back up to where I was. High 70s because it's so hot out. I'm gonna let this charge up, figure out where the battery's at. It's at full, so let it do that. Let it cycle through everything. Let it relearn, you know, what car stuff does. I'm gonna take it out for a drive. Definitely roll down these windows and hopefully no more jerking. Just went for a drive, 0 issues. I'm gonna make this quick. It's hot. Thank you guys for watching, and in another video I'll doing probably the ground cable things, because why not?